Aloha, fellow travelers. So, I'm back home for a couple of days. Today's Sunday, the 19th. Um, I'll be leaving again Tuesday. Last week was Tuesday through Saturday. I drove to Nashville, Tennessee every day. Um, so I would drive down, and my trainer would drive back, and it was basically running 24 hours a day like that. Um, Gotta be honest, not a real big fan of that 24-hour run. The drive down to Tennessee itself, down to Nashville, um, it was interesting. Parts of it were quite beautiful. Not a fan of the bridges. Um, Missouri, Illinois, Kentucky, Tennessee. Maintain your bridges. That is not fun in a truck to be driving over a bridge that's 50 to 100 feet above the water or just ground and be bouncing around like a ping pong ball because the bridges are filled with potholes and debris. Um, not a good feeling. Uh, but it is what it is. It's a part of the job. Uh, some interesting highlights. Driving through St. Louis every day. Not a huge fan of St. Louis. Just the traffic and everything. But one day going through, there was suddenly this big explosion, not fire or anything, just this huge explosion of smoke everywhere, all over the highway. So of course I hit my brakes and slowed down, going through, and wanted to make sure I don't hit anything. Don't know what's inside this big cloud of smoke. As I get closer, what I see is that some guy in a pickup truck pulling a trailer behind him of bags of concrete, and a couple of those bags had fallen off the trailer and hit the road, and just boom, concrete dust everywhere, huge cloud of smoke. Um, I mean, if you didn't know better, just looking at the size of the smoke, you would have thought it was a car bomb or something. The aftermath of it, because there weren't flames, but like that big of a boom. There was just the cloud was everywhere. So that was interesting, kind of funny. Um, Down on I-24 East, around the 15-mile marker in Tennessee, um, there was a deer that had been hit. There's lots of deer all along the road, but this particular one kind of got me because it literally looked as if it had been flattened out with an iron, like somebody put it on an iron board, just ironed it flat, and then folded up, starched it so it would be stiff, and then just laid it out on the side of the road. So that was an interesting thing to see. Um, there were some unfortunate things that happened, not to me, but uh, one day we lost a lot of time because of a standstill on the freeway or on the highway, not the freeway. But as it turns out, there had been a fatal accident. Another truck driver that one of his steer tires had blown out apparently from the chatter on the radio, and that was very sad to see. By the time it got up to the front of the traffic stoppage, they were pulling the truck off the road, well, off the side of the road onto the truck to be hauled away. And I mean, it was just mangled, barely recognizable as a truck. Just a piece of twisted metal. Um, there was a motorcycle accident another day. It didn't seem like that one was a fatality, so that's good. Although everyone is speculating it was probably not just a motorcycle accident. Likely there was a car involved that was being helpful with that. Um, well, that's another thing that irritates me in this job, and it's something that's irritated me long before I started driving a truck. Is and I've been known to take my chances with certain things. There are a lot of people that don't. haven't always liked the way I drive, because I can be aggressive, and I like to drive fast and get where I'm going. But when you see a turn signal, that's not an invitation to come up alongside somebody. It's not a challenge to a race. For years, in my own personal vehicle, I never used my turn signal to change lanes. Not because I'm a jerk. I'm not saying I'm not a jerk. I am. But that's not why. Not because I'm a jerk, but because anytime I turn my turn signal on, this guy that's been content to be driving in the other lane behind me for the last 3 miles suddenly feels the need to hit his gas and accelerate. That's ridiculous. Can't do that. But here's the thing: when I'm in a semi and I'm pulling a full load, thousands and thousands of pounds, tons and tons of weight there, I'm coming up on an on-ramp with a bunch of cars that are trying to merge, and I need to get over so I don't run over and kill them, and you decide that's a good time to jump up beside me, you're the one that can go off the road. Now, I do not care. If you see a semi turn its turn signal on, it needs to get over, change lanes or back off. Those are your two options. Or the third option, which we don't really want, is get wrecked. But it's not cool to expect the people getting on the highway, and that's all they're doing, minding their own business, getting on the highway. It's not okay to expect them to get wrecked or the truck to get wrecked just because you want to play stupid games. And that one really does make me mad. Like, I find a hard time joking about it because it really ticks me off. And like I said, there's people that don't like the way I drive. That's not something I do. But it's been interesting around doing the same run again this next week, leaving Tuesday. Switching things up though, and so instead of driving to Nashville every day, I'll be driving back from Nashville to Kansas City. I'll be driving at night. Honestly, not looking forward to that, but that's just because I haven't done a lot of night driving, especially a long stretch like that. And so it's one of those things where, it's going to be something new, and I understand the inherent dangers of being on the road that long in a truck like that, driving the speeds that we're driving at night with reduced visibility and everything like that. It's just, that much more. And it's just a matter of getting the experience and getting used to it. I have to learn. That's it's not optional. It's kind of like I'd say it's kind of like working out, but I don't do that. Any endeavor that you're going into that's going to be unpleasant at first, but you're going to grow from it, and looking forward to that growth. Let's see, anything else that was interesting that happened? Well, I've been improving in my driving. Been given good feedback that I'm doing well. Honestly, I'm looking forward to the end of training, because I would like to go local and be able to be home every day, shower in my own shower, sleep in my own bed. One of the things that being over the road for the training and all that, and this isn't limited to the trucking job. This is frankly a lot of jobs I've had. I find that the schedules tend to keep me from doing things that I want to do and being with people I want to be with. So, for instance, this upcoming Friday is what's called Fourth Fridays in Olathe, the town that I live in. And it's just a day for the community to come out and be together, get to know each other, local businesses, nonprofits, our church, my church, Faith Journey Church in Olathe, be going out and having a booth there, and it's just a monthly thing. The fourth Friday of each month, and go out and get into the community and spend time there, getting to know each other, and maybe having opportunities to help and serve people. But instead of doing that, I'm going to be driving back from Nashville to Kansas City. Like I said, that's nothing that's exclusive to truck driving. Back when I was working in customer service, I would be sitting at a desk in front of a computer talking to a customer instead of doing that. It just seems to be something that no matter what job I get, the scheduling makes things difficult. And so I'm hoping if I can get on a dedicated run, something local and regional where I'm home every day, that I'll be able to participate in more things. So I also I'm looking forward to that. I've also been just contemplating, like, what's the point? And thinking about working hard and trying to bring in a paycheck, trying to do things. What is it that I'm doing this for? And again, this is not about trucking. I actually enjoy driving the truck. Love driving the truck. Don't really like the idiots that are out there that make things dangerous for everybody. But being in that truck and driving it, I really do enjoy that. Again, this is just any job, anything. What's the point? Now, from a spiritual aspect, obviously the point is to glorify God. The point is to serve Him and to grow in relationship with Him. But as far as what I'm doing here on this earth, and this is something I've struggled with, heck, even before I started really struggling with my faith, is what's the point? I can worship and glorify God in heaven. I don't need to be here to do that. And this isn't self-deletion talk or anything like that. This is just, again, but what's the point? What's the purpose, right? I don't have a family. I'm not married. I'm not raising kids. I'm not an essential, fundamental part of really anything that I know of. I know that there are people who care about me, and I appreciate that. I do. And I don't want to downplay that. But if I'm being totally honest, there's no structure that I'm a part of. But if I were to just disappear the next day and never return, it wouldn't collapse. Everything would keep going. I'm not that important. And I'm not saying that in a self-deprecating way. So I'm not putting myself down when I say that. Again, I'm talking about the purpose and the point, right? You got a gas pedal in your car. Well, if that gas pedal's gone, you ain't going nowhere. It may have every other part you need, but if you ain't got an accelerator, you ain't accelerating, right? But if somebody takes away the cup holder, well, you can still drive the car. The cup holder has its purpose, which is not essential. The accelerator has its purpose, which is. So I'm looking, I'm thinking, what is the point of this? And what am I putting forth so much effort for? So today, I was looking at Ephesians, the first and part of the second chapter. It starts out with a really uplifting, encouraging Uh, meaningless as a teacher, utterly meaningless. Everything is meaningless. What do people gain from all their labors at which they toil under the sun? Generations come and generations go, but the earth remains forever. And it goes on like that. And talks about how, we're not doing anything new. Nobody's going to remember us after we're gone. And, we don't really remember those that came before us a lot. I could talk politics on that, forgetting the lessons of history. But that's not the point. So he talks about building great works, building many parks, and monuments, and groves of trees to produce fruit and irrigating them so that they would be flourishing. How much joy he took in that work. But then when he stepped back and looked at it, it's all meaningless. So it's kind of the same as what I'm working through when I'm in that truck. I enjoy driving it. I take joy in what I do. But when I'm sitting at home at night, or in the sleeper bed of the truck, and I'm not working, and I'm just thinking about what it is that I'm accomplishing in life, it all seems really meaningless. The best that I can do is to work to establish riches in heaven, right? Jesus said, don't store up riches for yourself here on earth, but instead store up riches in eternity. Now, that takes on a higher purpose, but also makes me confront what is my idea of heaven, and does my idea of heaven align with reality? And if I'm being honest, probably not. See, whether we like it or not, whether you believe it or not, there is one God, creator of all things, holy and righteous and just and eternal. And one day this earth here, as beautiful as it is to us, will be destroyed because of the taint of sin. It'll be destroyed and it'll be replaced with a new earth. Now, I don't know how much of Revelation is literal and how much of it is figurative and metaphor. When it talks about the sea is gone, that kind of makes me sad. Because if I was the one that was dictating what's going to be in heaven and what's there, I'd have a sea. I like the water. I like fish. I don't like eating fish. I think that's gross. I like other seafood, shrimp, crab, calamari. But I like the coral reefs, and I like the colorful fish in the sea. I like whales and dolphins and things like that, even though I've never gotten to see them firsthand. I really like those things. So to say the sea is gone, there's no more sea, wow. I hope that's metaphorical. I don't know. But my idea of heaven would be to be reunited with someone I truly love. And it would be just her and me and a few others, just living in God's presence, and that's it. Now, obviously, that's not it, right? Because we are to love one another. Heck, as Christians, we're to even love our enemies. So that fellowship is supposed to permeate all of us. That's not my idea of heaven. I'm not good with a lot of people. It's just, I acknowledge that as a defect of myself. I'm not saying that, I'm not excusing that by saying that's just the way I am. I know why I'm that way. Not naturally that way. That's through nurture. Nature versus nurture. Naturally, I was a very outgoing, very social person, very friendly. But by nurture, I prefer small groups, and I don't like meeting new people. But my idea of heaven, if it was heaven on earth, would be just the two of us and our small group of friends living together out in nature, plenty of trees, plenty of seas, a place to go out on the lake or on the ocean, whatever, and enjoy all that nature has to offer, from the leafy trees and shades, the streams, and water to swim in, and boat on, kayaking, paddleboarding, all that fun stuff. But that's not, I don't believe that's what heaven is. So I believe that maybe my idea of heaven doesn't comport with reality. Heaven is about glorifying God. Now, I don't know what that's going to look like. A lot of people think they do. Maybe some of them are right. I don't know. To me, again, comes down to what's the point and what's the purpose. Because if all it is, if the only focus is on God, why do we need other people? Why? I don't need someone else in order to just focus on God directly, right? So it seems, and of course, if you're gathering up riches, riches have a purpose. If you're gathering up riches for eternity, what does that look like? What's society look like in heaven? I don't know. Doesn't look anything like on earth. Nothing like on earth. Right? Because we're gonna love each other. Those of us that are there. We'll all love God, obviously. It's not going without that aspect. But it's another piece of thought I'm working through. And this is ended up being one of my much longer videos, so try not to keep too long, too much longer. I didn't script this one out, which I normally do, but I'll just leave you with this thought. Give thought to what your purpose is, what it is that you're doing with your life, and who it is that you're glorifying. Because ultimately, we're here to glorify God one way or another, right? Even Pharaoh glorified God. He got the raw end of that deal, because the glory he gave God was the glory of breaking a stiff neck. But the question is, how are you going to glorify God, I guess? Through your submission to Him and letting His grace and love reflect in your life, or are you going to defy God and have Him take glory by breaking that stiff neck? Anyway, yeah, it's all this old Viking has for today. Be safe out there, and see you down the road.